Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we are going to tackle about project-based assessment. So what is project-based assessment? Project-based assessment is an alternative to tests that allows students to engage with their learning in more concrete ways. So it means that instead of merely studying theory, teachers are encouraged students into an hands-on project and ask them to apply what they've learned to an in-depth exploration of a topic. You can use projects as part of the ongoing learning process or as a capstone assessment in place of traditional final exam. Project based assessment is often a component of project based learning, so in which the entire focus of a course or unit is to teach students engagement in problem solving and exploration. So, like BPL, project based assessment is student centered and requires reflection on both process and the content to be meaningful. Lastly, project-based assessment are an opportunity to utilize and measure the higher order thinking skills of students. It means that a project-based assessment will apply multifaceted skills to be encompassed into a cumulative project. This can be a singular project at the end of the grading period, or it can be done at designated intervals throughout the marking period. The use of project-based assessment has continued to grow within education curriculums as the resources and concepts beyond traditional testing applications have evolved. There can be extensive value to the student's overall learning process with the addition of project-based learning to supplement standard curriculum material. Often, the project based component of lesson plans can help to make the concepts relatable for students.
Making project-based assessment work takes careful planning and the willingness to be flexible, as no two student projects will look alike. If you plan to do a project-based assessment in a classroom, consider these practices from the Back Institute for Education to make sure that the assessment is meaningful and effective. So the first BIE practice is to allow students to choose topics, problems, and the direction of their work to make it personally meaningful. It means that teachers should give students the freedom to work on their projects. Let them decide what to choose and do on the success of their projects. Why? Because through this, students will experience something relevant that leads to effective learnings. They can also reflect from their work because they are the one who exerted effort to make their projects successful. The second practice is be clear about the parameters of the project and your grading rubric from the outset so students and parents know what to expect. It means that teachers who are using PBA or project-based assessment should always give clear guidelines and criterion for students' projects. It's because it serves as a guide or basis for students' project success and parents' students' expectation in making the learners' projects. The third one is if students are working in groups, make sure you have a way to assess individual learning rather than just giving shared grade on the final product. It means that it is important to also make a grade individually in group projects to justify each member's contribution to the project, to have fairness of the students, and to also encourage the students to help and give their best. And the last practice of BIE is to check in with students frequently, both informally and with announced benchmarks to scaffold learning and set them up for a success. It means that teachers must check students always about their projects, give them some examples to give an idea or rely on. Through this, students were more likely to be more active in making their projects successful.
How students benefit from subject-based assessment. First, we have authenticity. The best projects are authentic if that provide life experiences and opportunities to apply learning to the areas that affect students' environment. Increasing engagement with the world around them prepares students to become a good citizen or a responsible in their future profession. Next, we have the motivation. The best designed project-based assessment gives student voice and choice, where students can select the work that is most meaningful to them. This increases engagement and motivation to do well and open the door for a deeper, richer learning that will stick to the student life, and motivation gives students determination to finish and focus the project. Next is the metacognition. It is awareness or analysis of a learning or a thinking process. A well-designed project-based assessment provides significant feedback to students about their progress. It requires designing clear and detailed rubrics that students can use to measure their progress as they work. And the fourth one is the collaboration. Projects are the perfect opportunity for students to work together with a common goal. Small group is linked for a better retention of information. The more students collaborate with each other, the more they retain the information given. And also the collaboration enhances the relationship and interaction with your classmate. And the last one is creativity. Project-based learning often involves problem solving that helps students to think creatively in different solutions. That finding innovative ways to approach a problem is a great practice for applying skills in a future endeavor.
So there are 5 examples of project-based assessment. First one is design a society. Second, solve a local problem. Third is publish something. Fourth is place-based projects. And the last one is get technical. So in project-based assessment, it can take any numbers of forms. So knowing where to start can feel overwhelming. Try modifying one of these examples to get inspired about the possibilities of your students. The first one is design a society. You can choose to develop Moon Colony, a new school or medieval monastery, a project that asks students to design a social living situation present in a complex problem and nearly endless ways to solve it. There are also plenty of opportunities for cross-curricular learning. Depending on the aspects of the society, you can choose on the area of focus. The second one is solve a local problem. Younger learners can tackle a problem as simple as making a school library easier to use for kindergartens, while older learners can work on an issue in the community at large. This type of project lends itself well to social studies and science classes, particularly when it comes to ecological issues. The third one is publish something. Working together to create a newsletter, party chapbook, or collection of essays is a great way to allow students to have their voices heard. This project works in any subjects and can be continued throughout the year if you choose to make several editions of magazines or newsletter. The fourth one is place-based project. In building a project around a significant location in the community, it is also a good jumping off point for a project-based assessment. Place-based learning has added benefit of getting students onto nature or other parts of the community to make connections and enrich the area of for everyone. The last one is get technical. Adding technology to project-based learning involves addition, motivation, and increased engagement for many students. Consider designing an app, making a documentary to publish YouTube, or designing a new social media platform that addresses a specific problem or issues relevant for your teaching. So in this guide, we'll look at project-based learning examples to help students inspire and excite your students. To spark your curiosity, Here are some project-based learning examples for your students can use to display their learning. Infographics, brochures, presentation, find maps, flyers, newsletters, and poster.
In project-based learning assessment, there must be a criteria to be used in order to align the standard and assess properly. It can be as specific or as generic as teacher designates. We have here the following sample criteria. First is the key knowledge, understanding, and success skills. The project that focus on the teaching students with the key knowledge, understanding, and the success skills that include critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, and self-management. The next is a challenging a challenging problem or question. And this project based on a meaningful problem to solve or question to be answered at appropriate level of challenging for students, which operationalized by an open-minded and engaging driving question. The next is the sustained inquiry. This involves an active or in-depth process over time in which students generate questions, find and use resources, ask further questions, and develop their own answer. Next is the authenticity. From the word itself, authentic, it means real. In this part, the project has to be real and the process is real with the use of appropriate tools and the quality standards makes a real impact. It is connected to students' own concern, interest, and identities. Next is the student's voice and choice. This project makes students able to do their own choice on the product to be made, showing their creativity on how they work and how they use their time to finish the project and with the guidance of the instructors or the teachers. Next is the reflection. This criteria based on the project of students on how they reflect their learnings on a product. Next is the critique and revision. The project includes a process for students to give and receive feedback on their own work in order to revise their ideas and products or conduct further inquiry. Last is a public product. The project requires students to demonstrate what they learned by creating a product that is presented or offered to people beyond the classroom.